what's up?
Chilling, man. Hey, everybody. This is Nathaniel, part of our production company. Figured we'd have a crew chat.
So what's going on, Nathaniel?
Life and trying to find your way as a young man.
Word up, man.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that with The Matrix. We were basically saying, like...
Crazy movie.
Yeah. The Matrix is, like, a story about how to break free of society and...
I think everybody knows what
really
Matrix is.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the message behind it. Yeah.
Most people get that, yeah. It's, how can you relate that to this, like this everyday life, there are people out here, all they know is, there's people out that don't ever actually go out. They stay at home, they get up, they go to work, they're inside a car or a subway station or a bus. They get to work, they're inside the whole time. Then they get inside the whatever conveyance to take them back home, and they're just inside. And the next day they just do it all over again. And they're always inside, not getting any fresh air. Yeah. They probably rarely ever go to parks.
They're in the fucking Matrix.
Yeah.
They're just stuck in boxes all day.
Pretty much.
Sounds like me. These social media is so addicting, like truly.
Social media is a big part of that, keeping people in the Matrix.
And it's sad, like when you think about it from like a certain point of view, is you're in the Matrix. You just have a fake life, and
you know what I did?
Fake life.
You know what's crazy? That I recently started doing this. I went into the reminders app on my phone, and I made a list called social media, and every day I check off, like, I tweeted in the morning, I tweeted in the afternoon, I tweeted at night, and I shared something on Facebook, and, like, following that, weirdly enough, got me off social media a lot.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know that I'm covering ground in terms of, like, the important stuff, at least, like, being there, and, in a business sense, like, having people aware that I'm around, but also, like, somehow I'm able to, like, set the phone aside. Like, I know I did that already. I don't need to go back to Facebook and scroll through it. I still do it, but I don't as much.
What I did was I just cut Facebook off my phone almost entirely.
How did you find the strength?
Well, it wasn't easy at first, but now it is, because I don't remember my password and I don't feel like changing it at this point. So I'll leave it as is. I can still get it on my laptop, and that I have more control that way.
Word up. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
It's probably really good to, like, just I've never done it, but it's probably good to, like, let go of it.
See, I've never done it. You're in the Matrix with that kind of talk.
Well, I use it. I think I use it different than.
No, I know. I'm just messing. It's whatever.
I don't know. I probably am, though.
Maybe you are.
I've definitely.
We definitely all are, because we're still on this. I'm on Instagram more now, if anything.
Our phones
and
never
Twitter,
leave our sides.
So.
Oh yeah, this thing. Yeah, I take it with me everywhere. It's sad.
Yeah.
Really.
But the thing is, there have been times when I've left my phone at home and knew it was like that.
That it feels good to leave it at home, but
At
it
least,
also feels weird to not have it on you.
Yeah.
I feel like I lost an arm, to be honest.
I feel okay with it sometimes. It depends. Depends on where I'm going and what I'm doing. Might need it more. Sometimes the going out is the whole reason, you needed the phone just to go out.
Yeah, man.
But there are times when I can go out and, be like, oh, well. It's really important to do it once in a while, because it lets you sharpen more of your skills that are more important for the real world. That's the truth. If you leave your phone at home and just go out.
Yeah, it allows you to be a real person. It allows you to be fully there.
I think it's very important for us to maintain some level of cognitive ability in the real world.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good idea. I'll probably, like, one day just leave my phone on the couch and walk out the door and just see what happens. Like, see what happens with my day from there. I'd probably like meet some really interesting people who I wouldn't even talk to, and
You know, it's
now that I'm
anything,
thinking about it,
yeah.
it could be a really awesome day.
There was a time before I had my phone when I didn't have any phone, and I was super happy. Like no one could track me. I could go wherever I wanted. No constant ring-in or anything like that. Less distractions. And then I got a phone and been addicted to it ever since.
Yeah, it really takes over.
Yeah.
See, what was your first phone?
Ever?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but Sidekick was very early.
Sidekicks?
Is it like a flip phone?
I don't remember
Yeah.
Sidekick.
You don't remember? You
It
never
was
had
like
one?
the first. It
Shit
was
was
like a
awesome.
BlackBerry, but the screen came out like this, and it kind of popped.
Oh, okay.
Oh
you
yeah,
have
you
this
flip
whole-
your screen and it.
You'd have this.
Wait,
whole-
it flipped both ways?
No,
yeah,
no,
no.
no.
I
It
think
flipped this
they-
way and then you close it back down.
Yeah, yeah.
I had
There's
that
buttons
one.
underneath the screen.
You remember the one that flipped out like a regular flip phone, but then you could flip it in and then flip it out, and the keys turned into a keyboard?
It's not a. It's
I
not
had
a.
that one.
It's
not
kind
a-
of like that, though.
It's not a Sidekick, right?
It's
something
not.
else.
It's something else. I forget. I think it was like LG or something.
Yeah, LG had a phone that was like their version of the Sidekick too. I had a Razr phone. That was my first phone,
It's,
and I loved that phone.
it's crazy that
I
that
had
was
my playlist on it, like 3 or 4 songs.
that was
At the time.
like 8 years ago.
Yeah,
It's not that long in the
yeah.
span of things.
This is.
And now this phone is like it's like having one of these in your pocket. You know, a
Time.
laptop.
Time is like zooming by and moving slow at the exact same time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I was watching Rush Hour 2 the other day. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
I looked at the date. It said 2001. I was
Oh.
like, wait, what? I remember watching that in the theater. I was supposed to be watching it in the theater, but I remember watching it in the theater. And I'm like, what?
I remember watching the first X-Men movie in 1998 in the theater.
Yo, the first X-Men movie I ever saw
Oh, I saw that in the theater
Was-
too. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
was the one where Xavier dies.
3. That's part 3. And she
Yeah.
rips him. She rips him.
Yeah.
Like paper.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Spoiler alert!
Uh,
Didn't see it.
Spoilers from 2005. But I was there with one of my best friends though, and the funniest shit happened. Like we were in a packed theater, and he just goes, "She turned it into a chair." All of us laughed hysterically, and everybody else was like glaring at us. Like, but I can't stop thinking about that. Every time I watch a movie, I'm just like,
That movie?
yeah, she turned it into a chair.
Yeah.
We got a lot of movie theater memories too.
Yeah.
Pavilion on Park Slope, Prospect Park. Used to sneak in there all the time.
What are you guys thinking about The Last Jedi after having some time to mull it over?
It's not as bad as they say it is, but it could have been better.
Uh,
It was unexpected,
Definitely.
well,
I agree.
but it wasn't a bad movie. It was okay.
so
Some of the decisions they made with Luke were strange, but that's their character. They do
Yeah.
whatever they want.
I like to look at like the weird things that he was doing on the island, like as like Yoda rubbing off on him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's my
Same exact
justification
story.
for it.
They
Yeah.
went into
Yeah.
hiding, and he's been basically alone the whole time, except for those.
yeah,
two
that's
things.
what Jedi do. It's basically saying all along Jedi are kind of pussies. You know?
My
For some reason, and they don't have to be. That's the worst part.
I watched it through a second time. My aunt came into town, and we went to see it, and I watched through it like with all the criticism in mind,
Uh-huh.
but also like trying to figure out what are they really trying to do with this thing, and I think like I think they're setting it up for something big between. I mean, obviously they're setting it up for something big between Kylo and Rey, but like something I kept noticing was like all the things that you might assume on the first watch through, like that Snoke didn't intend for that to happen in the throne room. Spoiler alert, we might just start talking about some crazy stuff.
Yeah, you should have said that in the beginning, but okay.
Yeah, alright, spoiler alert. Like, I think Snoke wanted Kylo to kill him and knew Kylo was going to kill him. Or, if he's not dead, to not kill him. Like, but to make it look like he did.
You have to watch it a second time.
Yeah, because the way he was talking was like very much like I see it exactly happening this way, not like I see a certain tiny action.
Yeah, and if he's in his head enough to show him projections of Rey, he should be in his head enough to know what he's thinking and what he's gonna do and all that shit.
Right. Yeah. So
he probably could. I see that he's seen it coming. It was so obvious too. It's like the thing was moving.
Yeah, exactly.
I still wish they would have told us who Snoke really is. Where
and he'll probably come back. Third one.
But that's something.
You don't think he's dead?
I think maybe he's dead, but sort of like in an Obi-Wan way. Like Obi-Wan wanted Vader to fucking kill him. That was his intention with that fight. And I think, like he said, like if you strike me down, I'll come back more powerful than ever.
Uh-huh.
I think Snoke might have figured out the dark side version of that. Or
Okay.
maybe it was all an illusion and he really is alive and he wants them to think he's dead for some reason.
Okay.
Maybe a test for Kylo.
What if it was a Snoke droid? Right? And the real Snoke is somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
And he really is 9 feet tall.
Or if he was doing what Luke was doing, just in a more sophisticated way, like making himself appear to have been chopped by the lightsaber when really he's just a projection.
Did you hear about 11, 12, 13?
It sounds familiar, but no. Tell me what it's about.
Star Wars. 11, 12, 13.
Oh, yeah, I knew that they were going to do one. They also gave Rian Johnson a trilogy that's not that, I think.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. Like his next trilogy. He said it's 11, 12,
I know they're
13.
doing
but
a Han Solo story too.
It's not like directly connected. It could be like something completely different.
Right, but is it going to be episode 11, 12? Because I think it might be like the Old Republic or something. That would be really cool.
I think they said they weren't going to do that. Yeah, I remember you were telling me about that before on the ferry, and it sounds amazing.
If you know anything about Darth Revan,
just what you told me, but I don't remember exactly.
That whole storyline is incredible. So Darth Revan is basically, I'll give you the gist of it. Darth Revan is this guy. He was a Jedi, and then he led a bunch. He basically caused a splinter in the Jedi Order during the Mandalorian Wars. So long story short,
Try not to let the plastic make any noise.
he wanted to help the Old Republic when the Jedi Order didn't want to, and a bunch of other Jedi were with him. So they called themselves the Jedi Crusaders. Now that's all extended universe, like Legends stuff, but that pendant that Luke had
in Last Jedi.
Yeah, it's canon as a Crusader pendant. So it's like an old Jedi artifact from the time of Revan. So they're basically making him canon. And this guy is basically, he jumped back and forth between being a Jedi and a Sith. And he was one of the first Jedi to ever like marry someone and then be accepted by the Order, even though he married somebody. And
so why didn't they make a movie about this already?
Oh, well, they made a whole video game series about it.
Oh yeah, they did PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
but I don't think I ever played it.
Knights of the Old Republic. I won't say anything because you should play it, and it's an incredible story revolving around him in a lot of ways. So
you can read it also, right? You don't have to play the game.
There's some books you can look up the whole story online on like Wikipedia articles and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I was gonna make some YouTube videos about it, and I couldn't think of anything interesting that hasn't been said.
Well, as far as Star Wars goes, I'm disappointed that Disney got it. I'm afraid of where the direction Disney's going to take it. Because I don't like the fact that Disney pretty much has is getting a huge market on basically creativity.
It
when
is
you look at things, it's a little unnerving.
It is a little scary.
I'm not really gonna judge The Last Jedi until I see the 10.
Yeah.
Because it could just be that awkward middle chapter
That's exactly where I'm at. Like, imagine watching A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, and then just not knowing what's going to happen
and
next.
jumping into The Last Jedi.
You feel the same way you do now about The Last Jedi. Because, like, it ended, Han Solo was, like, frozen in carbonite, and, like, you just found out Luke was Darth Vader's son, which was pretty... I guess that was one thing that The Last Jedi didn't have much of.
The most famous reveal in cinematic history so far.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't try and do something like that to match it, because they never could have. You know,
Yeah, like Luke told Rey, "I'm your father," or some shit.
Yeah.
I'm your father.
I am your father.
Nice, Rick.
So you're gonna be teaching photography soon.
Hopefully, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Word up. How's the lesson plan looking?
I'm still on the first point, but I'm gonna make sure I get to it before I go to sleep.
Alright, man, well, we can help you out. We can even help you out on the podcast. Alright?
Okay.
Teach some photography.
To little children, I wish I would have learned photography when I was that age.
I'm glad I picked it up at 17. I don't know if I picked it up. If I picked it up at like 13, the way I did at least, I might have been like, forget about this. That's what I did with a lot of stuff.
You know, I always gave thought to it, but I never gave thought to it, if that makes sense. I was always collecting photographs, but I never wanted to create the photographs until one day I discovered that I was decent at creating photographs, and then that just drove me even more.
Yeah, that's what it was for me too. Realizing that I could do something creative.
Yeah.
Because I had a bunch of friends who were musicians, and I never had any talent for music. Like, I love music, but I'm not any good at playing it. So I was always like, oh, why can't I do stuff like that? And I picked up a camera, and every time I took a picture, people were like, whoa, did you do that? Nice.
Yeah, for me, I always loved that stuff too. And then, I always loved movies. And people always told me that I paid a lot of attention to detail,
Oh, yeah.
So I remember one time I was a kid. My father drove a MTA bus, and I used to be on the bus with him and his bus driver friends. And there was this it was a video store. They had a lot of video stores back then in the 90s.
My favorite.
And there was this place called Coyle Video, and it was on Coyle Street and Avenue U in Brooklyn, right? And it used to be a Royal Video. And I remember when it was a Royal Video, but even more so, you could see the outline of the R still on the ends of the sign, the flashing sign, even though they took it and replaced it with a C.
Yeah.
And nobody notices stuff like that. I mean, maybe some people do, but I don't know. Somebody pointed it out to me, and I was like, I guess I do have a good eye for things. As a little kid, I'm like, oh yeah, someone said, oh, you have a good eye for things.
I hear you, man.
And then,
That's
I always
really
liked
important.
movies, and I always used to watch,
Yeah.
how they make these movies. How did they do this, and how did they do that? That always kind of fascinated me.
Yeah, man.
And
I think that's a huge part of filmmaking is attention to detail. Because, you gotta make everything make sense in a movie, even if people aren't gonna necessarily if people aren't gonna necessarily notice it. There's some people who will watch it 10 times, and then they're gonna notice if something doesn't make sense here or there.
And there's always little fuck ups in all these movies.
Yeah.
Cinema Sins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're incredible.
CinemaSins points it out. There's all kinds of little things.
Did you guys see that they made music video sins?
Yeah, long time ago.
Where, yeah.
They have Cinema Wins now. He does the opposite of Cinema
Oh, I
Sins.
should watch that. I want
Never
to see
seen it?
that. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
everything positive.
I watch Bransons a lot now too. You ever watch
What's
that? It's the same
Same
thing.
thing, but it's a
It's
different
so-
guy.
Bransons. Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, Bransons is pretty good.
Yeah, that guy's really good though. I saw him do Apple, I think it was, and something else.
Coca-Cola, McDonald's. They have a Donald Trump one.
Oh my
Everything.
god.
Everything. Yeah.
I've seen the Apple one, and I think I saw the Coca-Cola one. Have you seen Mad Men?
I watched
I know you.
most of the first season. I never finished it.
Oh wow.
I want to go back again.
I never really.
Because
got
I always
into it
hear
either
that
like
it's
that.
really good. I remember you were watching it. You were telling me
Yeah,
it was amazing. But it was.
I never really got into it like
I
that.
have no problem with slow shows, but that was kind of like painfully slow at times. But it was also
You know what though? It does pick up the pace throughout.
as that the
Like
You know
every
how,
show.
like, the first
Everyone
season of
knows
something is always worse than the rest. Like,
wait. Let me see. I might have gotten past the first season, but I stopped early though. I was just figuring out he's an imposter. He's not really.
right?
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Spoiler.
Don't worry about it. We already gave the spoilers for anything we mentioned. We mentioned a
we
show.
spoil things on this show. So that's a disclaimer right now. If you're going to be watching this show, expect spoilers for everything we're going to talk about. We're going to really get inside the things we talk about.
We'll hold
As long
off.
as we know what we're talking about.
We'll hold off. I mean, I think it's enough time for Last Jedi. Like, if you haven't seen it now, you probably already had it spoiled.
It's not even a month yet.
Yeah,
Come
on.
Sorry.
Some people are waiting for it to come out on,
But we'll never put out
demand
We'll never put out a
home
podcast
video.
like the day after something comes out.
Apparently, I made it to season 2.
Season 2.
All right.
Yeah, but I thought I was still on season 1.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the reason I mentioned it is because they do some cool stuff with Coca-Cola.
I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna start from the beginning.
Yeah, I have too many shows I have to catch up on. I've just been watching a lot of movies.
It's impossible to watch everything. Like, I don't even try to.
That's the thing. I'd rather watch movies because I feel like it's less of a commitment. When you're watching a show, you have to watch a show.
But the way that series are today, it's like
they're so good.
80-hour movie.
I know
yeah.
they're so good. It's just
That
I just don't
thing
want
that
to
we were
commit to
commenting
the
on
series.
The Trust or something it's called.
Oh, that looks incredible. Oh, watch the trailer for that.
Because I feel like if I commit to a series, I'll spend more time watching that than anything else. And just too
I hear
much.
you, man. And that literally is
I
what
prefer
happens.
movies. I really prefer movies because you can watch a movie and then you can do something else. I don't know.
It's crazy for like a future filmmaker to say, but I think I prefer a series
Me too.
because it's like movies, but
I think that's the future.
You have more time with each character, and you get to know them really, and you actually care. Like Walter White,
Yeah, you really.
that
you
scene,
really do,
that
yeah.
scene with when he was racing to the desert, he thought Jesse was burning his money. Sorry, spoiler again. I felt like that shit was happening to me. Like I spent so much time with these characters. Like I was scared. I was like, oh shit.
I don't think
You
anybody's
get invested
spoiled for Breaking
way
Bad,
more
though.
than you can in the movie. And speaking of series that are like movies, I noticed Netflix is doing something different. That new show that came out recently called The End of the Fucking World. It's 20-minute episodes, like maybe 10 or 12 episodes, but without giving anything away,
You watched it already?
there's not going to be a second season. It was intentionally made to be one season.
Does it end on a cliffhanger?
No, because it's just one season. It's not going. They made the whole thing with the intent of never making anything more to it. So it has what movies have in that, like, they're not trying to drag you along for 8 years, but so they can do some interesting things that they can't do when they want people to watch it so that they can keep gaining a profit. But yeah, found it really interesting. I watched through it. It was very good. I won't give anything away because it's one a lot of people probably haven't seen.
I'll check it out. I'm currently not watching anything. A series, as far as series goes, except for Naruto, but.
It's good if you want something like bite-sized because it's only 20-minute episodes.
Did you ever check out the app I told you about? Mosaic.
No.
Or something like that?
No, what is it again?
It's an app that tells you a story. It's like a pick which direction you go in the story. It's brilliant.
HBO did it, right?
HBO, yeah. It's for a show that's supposed to be coming out, I think.
Explain a little bit about how it works.
I only watched 2 so far, but like I'm thinking it's a murder. The main character gets murdered or something. Okay. So they're showing you a little bit of her story before the murder happens, I guess.
And so, like,
you could choose which character you follow to see. It all comes back full circle.
Oh wow!
It's brilliant.
So like they release an episode. And
I think they all out. You can just watch them whenever you want.
But can you go through, like?
Oh no, you have to follow. You start here, and then they give you 2 different paths. So
Right.
far, I've been seeing.
But can you like then start over and watch the other person's path?
Oh, that I'm not
Get
sure.
like the whole story like after a while.
That I'm not sure. I think you have to stay on the path you take.
Okay.
It's really a smart idea.
Yeah, definitely, and
The
that
guy,
makes it so you can watch it through like 10 times and
Yeah,
see
you can watch it
different
whenever you
stuff
want to.
and-
Like I had the app for like maybe 2 months now. I've watched 2 episodes. I keep forgetting about it though.
You think they're gonna keep making more stuff like that?
Of this or anything else?
Well, HBO's doing it, right?
It's this guy's original idea though. I think the guy who made The Nick. Remember that show? The Nick?
Oh, okay, yeah, that
It's
was
the same guy, same style and everything. Yeah, I want to see more people do that. That's brilliant. We should do that.
It's
That's brilliant.
We do have that new Adobe program. We should try out.
And it's so far I think only one person has done it, so we could jump on it early. Yeah, that's
okay.
It's really interesting so far though. It's called Mosaic.
I'll have to go through it. I'll get some free time soon.
Mosaic.
It's spelled MOSAIC.
Alright, nice. We'll put a link in the description. Yeah, man.
We were talking about series, right?
Yeah, but that's pretty stale.
You're pretty stale, Chris. The fuck? I'm just fucking with you, bro.
I know. It's just.
You guys do anything crazy recently?
I have, but I don't want to talk about it.
Alright, you don't have to.
Well, this is bad. This is bad that we don't have nothing to talk about right now.
It's
Yeah,
late.
We should have
Apologize.
We should have wrote out some subjects to just riff off of.
What were we talking? We were talking about earlier how language is how language evolved.
Oh yeah. Explain that, and then I'll tell you about a question that it reminded me of.
All right, cool. So we were having this conversation earlier about people who can't communicate and how many incredible ideas they probably have that will never reach the world, and it led into talking about how language evolved, and there's this theory out there that magic mushrooms actually caused the evolution of human language, since we speak more complexly than any other animal on the planet, and
we don't know that for sure.
Yeah, that.
right. Nobody knows for sure.
You can't say that. It's only apparent.
Well, if it weren't that, what would it have been?
What do you mean?
I can't think of anything that makes more sense than that. For language to develop so dramatically for us, and actually our brains got huge really quickly.
Well, it's been attributed to a number of factors. Not to say that mushrooms weren't definitely part of it. Not but to say that everybody, got their language from that, is definitely debatable. I mean, a lot of the other contributions was also meat, because meat really helped build that extra layer of brain too.
Right. I hear that in the sense that more protein could add to building up your brain, but also aren't alligators' brains the size of peanuts? All they're eating all day is meat.
Well, for them it's different. They took a different evolutionary path.
Right.
They process all of these things differently.
Yeah, and we started out as herbivores and moved on to being omnivores, right? So the theory goes
and it was also the times too. The times were different. The environment changed, so certain species of hominids had to start behaving certain ways. I mean, that's the theory anyway. There could be a whole lot more to it that we don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much,
I mean, honestly, it's probably a combination of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I think, anyways, you were saying a question about it, Steve?
Yeah, that when I first came in, that reminded me of a question. I got it from a meme, I think. What language do deaf people think in?
ASL.
Most
so
of
that I've
the ones
actually
that know it.
I went to a school that was 10% deaf, because RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, it's also the National Institute for the Deaf.
Deaf and blind.
Deaf and blind. Well, that's a tough one. But if you think about, let's think about just deaf people for a second. They speak through sign language. So there's all these symbols they make with their hands.
It's beautiful. That shit is amazing.
Yeah, it really is incredible. And so when I try and think of it, it's if you can think by writing out words in your brain. If you try, I never do. It's usually it's almost like my thoughts are a voice, my own voice inside my head, going on about stuff. But if I wanted to, I could type it all out instead. And I think that's essentially what they do. They're have the symbols, the signs running through their head.
Deaf and blind or deaf?
Well, deaf if they're born deaf.
Yeah, I'm
They've
saying
never
born,
heard anything.
I spoke to.
completely
I knew
deaf
a
and
girl.
blind.
I knew a
Haven't
girl.
seen anything, haven't heard anything ever.
I knew a girl who worked with kids like that. They had to make the signs and then take their hand and take their hand and let them feel the signs. That's what I wanted to say.
Oh,
Right.
I forgot about.
I had a girl that did that.
Not too
She
long.
worked at a camp like that.
Like about a
That's
year
what they
ago
did.
or something, over a year ago. I was actually coming to meet you guys too.
She would do the sign and then have them feel the sign or whatever.
Yeah, it's just exactly what I was about to talk about.
Yeah.
I was on my way to meet you guys and Vince. I remember that. And this guy caught me at the train. Well, he didn't catch me, but
He caught you at the train. That sounds like
he's walking with
abducted me.
he's walking with a stick, and everyone left him. So I saw him getting left behind, and I asked him if he needed help. I'm not sure what the fuck he was, but
the guy. Yeah. The old
deaf. I think he was deaf. Or, I don't know if he was blind. I don't know. He was something, but definitely deaf. And he had a pad or something. He would write on it. I don't know. It was weird.
Okay.
I need help getting to here. I'm going to Coney Island or some shit, and I had to meet you guys in the city.
Right.
And I was like, all right, I'll get you on the train. And then it just didn't feel right leaving him on the train like that. He didn't know where he was going.
I hear you, man.
Right.
And he didn't even have enough paper, so I had to he had made me I had to spell out each word on his hand.
That's actually he was probably just deaf, because that's actually something that would happen quite often.
I mean, he
college.
had shades and everything. I don't know.
It's a deaf person would walk up with a cell phone and hold the cell phone out, and they'd have written something, and then they'd hand you the cell phone, and you type to them, and
exactly, just like that.
That's it's kind of interesting, because it's like texting or being in a chat room, except you're right in front of the person, so you can see what their responses are as well. It's an interesting way to communicate.
Yeah. Well, the story is I took him to where he was going.
That's awesome, man.
I was late coming to meet you guys. And that day, Vince was. Let's talk about something.
No, that was worth it though. You know.
Sorry, Vince. He was helping somebody make sure they didn't
Go
get
the
lost.
opposite way of where I was going. Complete opposite.
So yeah.
At times like that.
Owen just walked in the room.
Oh.
You want to say hey? Come say hey to everybody.
Who's everybody?
The podcast.
Oh. Hey, I don't know if they're on. Hi. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were in the middle of the podcast.
It's all good. Keep it casual here.
Yeah.
I have clothes on, so that's always a plus.
Thank you for that. But yeah, it's like that's another incredible thing that we can, like, we could just think with symbols in our head instead of like thinking as if we were speaking to ourselves.
I mean, well, that's
But
where
if
it all came from.
If you've never communicated with another person visually or verbally or through air,
That's where it gets interesting.
how do you
Well, think about how you think, right? There's times like I can look at things, I can identify objects without actually thinking the thought, like the word, you know?
But we know why that is, though. We use our senses and we get used to it, and we know.
Right,
Yes.
but if you never learned language, like let's say you have all your senses, but you never learned language. I think that it would be pretty easy to think without, you would like develop your own way of like identifying things, and some of it's probably just built right in. Like, I know what this is, I know what it does, but I don't need to think, oh, cologne bottle,
Yeah.
to
That stuff is just known.
know that it's right there, like it's just there. And I think that's a lot, like we all do that, you know. It's not, so maybe that's just their entire experience, and maybe there's more of their mind dedicated to thinking like that because they're not focused on language, kind of like how a blind person can hear better.
What if they have no senses except for touch?
There was supposedly, and this is
That'd be tough.
no, this is may or may not be true. Supposedly there's this Tumblr, and there's videos, and there's lots of pictures of this guy who had all of his senses removed surgically.
What?
Just,
On purpose?
yeah,
Even his hands?
like he couldn't feel. He had all of his senses removed.
That's the ultimate, like,
And-
sensory deprivation.
And then he died.
He died.
But he was able to record for them what he was experiencing in that state.
Because he could talk about it still or something?
Yeah, and in the best way that he could, anyway.
Did he start hallucinating?
Well, yeah, that was the main thing.
Right.
And I don't remember how. It's a crazy thing. You could look it up. A guy who had all his senses removed.
There's
But nobody knows if it's really true. It might be a fake story.
Well, you
Who
can
said-
do that to yourself.
Well, yeah,
Like
who
going in,
would
like-
want to?
I want to. They have float tanks.
Oh, that thing. Well, that's different. But
No,
I get what.
well, it's essentially
It's
a
the
way
same,
to
but it's-
temporarily do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about permanently. I said, would you permanently want to do that?
No way.
All right then. I believe though that there are some people that do. Those people that meditate and don't eat anything. They supposedly live on air.
He died as a result of that.
Who?
The guy.
The guy that did that.
He died as a result of that.
He did die? Oh no, I'm talking about a different person.
No, you said he died. Did he die?
But the guy
because
who
of
had
that?
all his.
Senses removed.
Well, supposedly, yeah.
As a result
It
of
took
that.
like a year or something, or 6 months. I don't remember.
I mean, yeah, 'cause how did they stop him from feeling? Like, did they have to burn all of his skin?
I don't remember how they did it either. I was reading it like a couple of years ago. That's why I don't know if it's a true story.
He was
To be
probably
honest.
tripping.
But like, who knows?
There's nothing left to explore but your own mind, and
You
you just
spend
in there.
yeah, because you spend a couple hours in a sensory deprivation tank and you start tripping out.
That I would do, yeah,
Like-
temporarily to try that. I've been hearing a lot about how that's very good for you too.
I would hope that he had meditated for quite a long time before he did that,
Yeah.
because otherwise he might have just like gone totally nuts. Like if he meditated though, maybe he like found God or something.
That's what he
you
was
know?
talking
Like,
about, supposedly. I remember that was part of what I was reading. I remember we had a whole discussion about it when I was in Art Institute. We were talking about it in my class before the professor got there.
Yeah, I really want to try a sensory deprivation thing. I've never done it
I'm gonna look
before.
up that story again. So
Sounds like
maybe we could provide some kind of link for these people that want
if we find this, we'll put it in the
a description.
description. Check it out.
You know, there's all kinds of interesting stuff.
If you had to remove, actually, fuck that question. Did you hear about these guys who are adding senses? They figured out ways to add senses to their body,
Oh yeah, how's
like
that?
superhuman senses. They're called transhumanists, and
Oh,
and
that's like your favorite thing. Yeah.
they so one of the things there's a lot of different things they can do, but this certain group of them on this podcast I was listening to, they put magnets in the tips of their fingers. And so all the tips of their fingers had these small magnets like floating in them. And then whenever they came near anything electromagnetic, so electricity or a magnet itself, the magnets in their fingers would vibrate. And then that was just like a touch sensation at first, but at some point their brain figures out something's going on here. There's data that I'm not necessarily understanding, and so it starts to figure it out and create a sense for electromagnetic energy. And so they can walk into a room and know if there's like an MRI machine nearby, or like crazy stuff, like feel like the electricity pulsing through a wire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Snopes says that this thing I was talking about the guy who had all his senses removed, was a piece of horror fiction that was passed on social media as a true story a couple of years ago.
All right.
So anybody who was interested in that,
It does sound like a horror story.
didn't happen.
yeah, still an interesting idea.
I wonder if
though.
anyone heard that and then went and did it
right away while they were listening to this thing, probably. Still an interesting concept, though. Make a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would. Or like a superhero that was
Senseless.
yeah senseless man.
Have you lost all your senses? Why, yes.
He has it, or like he has a deep connection to consciousness because he has zero senses. The only problem is no one can communicate with him. He can only communicate with other people.
Oh man.
So
And just call it senseless. People are like, what?
it would have to be like what's that that X-Men show that just recently came out about the guy who thought he was schizophrenic, but it turns out he was psychic.
Sense8?
Legion.
Oh, Legion.
I never finished that.
Wasn't
Me
Sense8
either.
about that too? Something like that. I think it was.
Kind of. That was a really
I
interesting
wanted,
show.
I wanted to watch that too. But I never
Which
did.
one?
It Sense8.
Sense8?
Sense8.
Oh, Sense8. Yeah, I've heard of it. I never watched it.
Yeah, it's like
Sense8?
basically the story goes that there's a different species of human that was thought to have gone extinct, but it turns out they actually survived, and they communicated by sharing their senses with each other.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
people find out when they're like around our age, kind of, that they are one by suddenly joining with their cluster, which is 8 people around the planet who they can suddenly link brains with. And it goes crazy from there because the CIA is trying to kill them.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah. It got canceled, which sucks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
How did you guys feel about... Oh, I don't want to change the subject. We're still talking about it.
Yeah, go for it.
I do want to take a break. I gotta use the restroom real quick.
I was going back to film. How did you guys feel about Bright?
Bright? I fucking loved Bright.
Bright was
man.
great. I can't wait to talk about it when I come back.
The only problem I had with it was that I want to know more about the universe they're in.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to see like a TV show that she's off it. I understand why they didn't make it like a series, because I bet Will Smith didn't want to do that.
Couldn't do it, maybe.
Yeah. So it would be cool to see like maybe the orc that was Will Smith's partner becomes like
The chief.
yeah, maybe he's the chief, or maybe he's the main character and has a new partner that he's training or something. And
Yeah, there's so much they can do with that.
Yeah, it would be very cool to see, to learn more, because they gave me so much information about like the world without explaining any of it, kind of.
There's so much potential there. They might make a show down the line if it gets more and more popular.
I hope they do. It was a very good movie.
Right. Yeah, it was really good.
Do you think Will Smith was a Bright, or he just managed to do what he did? Because I don't know if everybody's well, spoilers, like he said.
The dude with that big ass sword. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
He was swinging the sword around in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Yes.
He said, "This guy that you're with is blessed,"
Yeah.
or something like that. So maybe he's not a Bright. Maybe he's just blessed with something else.
Or maybe he meant that he is a Bright.
Yeah.
Because that's what I assumed when the guy said that.
Yeah.
But then I saw how every time somebody who wasn't a Bright picked it up, it turned red and then they crumbled to dust or whatever. And he picked it up and it turned red, but he somehow powered through it.
Oh, so yeah, maybe he is blessed, and then he's not a Bright at all.
Because when the girl picked it up, it didn't change red, right?
I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, I only saw it once.
Yeah, I gotta watch it one more time too. Another movie that I really need to watch is Bushwick. I know that it was really good. I saw it from the end because I walked in and there was like my friend was already watching and my roommate was already watching and I was like, okay.
Pretend you didn't see the end of it.
But I did. But I can watch it.
You know what I mean.
It's just I've been putting it on a back burner. I've been watching a lot of the Netflix originals, the Stephen King derived Netflix originals. Like I watched Gerald's Game. That was pretty interesting.
That's a Netflix original?
Yeah.
Okay.
And another one, 1922, and that one was really good.
I really heard about that.
I think Thomas Jane is the actor. He gave a really, really good performance in that one, 1922.
Speaking of that one, isn't there another show? What was the Western style show where there's
Godless.
a town run by women?
I think was it Godless?
Godless? I think it was Godless.
Well, was it? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, there was a Western style
Did you
show.
hear anything good about that?
It looks really good.
It looks really cool. Yeah.
Is that the show you were thinking of though? Because I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because I remember only seeing the trailer for it. And I was
Right.
like,
It's
a
about
Netflix original.
a guy wanders into
And
a
it's a
town
series.
full of women in the Old West. It
Sounds awesome.
I think it's a lot less what you're thinking about. A lot more they lock him in a prison and he has to figure out how to.
That still sounds awesome.
Yeah. Word up. Atlanta season 2.
Can't wait.
Have you seen season 1, Chris?
Of what?
Atlanta.
No.
Yo, check that out. Everybody check that out. It's an incredible show. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out.
And they shot that shit really quickly too, because I think what they started in November, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, he was busy doing all his other stuff.
I find that hard to believe. Holy shit.
They shot it really, really quick.
Did they shoot season 1 that quick too?
I don't know. I didn't hear about it until I started seeing the commercials and shit.
That has me a little worried, to be honest. I hope they didn't rush it.
I mean, it's that team. I think it's the same as that team, so
Yeah.
it should be same quality. And it has a subtitle, Robin season. I don't know what that's about.
Maybe they shot. Yeah, I noticed that.
Robin season. Are they gonna do that every season? That'd be cool.
What if season 1 was his season, and then now it's all about her? Or something?
Oh, Robin. Her name is Robin.
I think that's his girl's name, right? I don't remember.
I thought he was just talking about like Robin.
Yeah.
Robin.
But oh yeah, that's the other way it could be read. Is like they could just be robbing the shit out of people. They did have a whole shitload of money in that club, in that trailer. That trailer was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm telling you, with that team, they're gonna do some amazing stuff. They already did do some amazing stuff.
They might have shot everything without him in it, and then he came in and did his thing.
I would hate to do it that way.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it could work though. It wouldn't be like it would actually set up the main character. Like if the main character was being heavily directed by someone rather than like being a free flowing like we'll build everything around how your acting is sort of a thing. I don't know.
It's a really well made show. I can't wait to see what they do. Have no idea what's gonna happen.
Right. That's one of those shows that's incredible.
But you don't know why, right?
Well, I think it has to do with like how well put together it all is.
The cinematography is great. The directing, the writing, the acting, everything.
Yeah. Everything just comes together perfectly.
Yeah, the style of it, everything is really good.
And
The comedy.
plus you don't know what to expect from it.
Yeah.
On top of all of that,
Yeah.
it's like
Is it gonna be serious? Is it gonna be a funny episode? Is it gonna be socially aware? You never know.
Yeah, man.
They had a whole episode of trailers. Remember last season?
Yes.
It was just like fake trailers, and then
Yeah, and like
a fake
TV
show.
commercials.
Yeah, a fake
and-
show in the middle of it.
Oh,
that was brilliant.
funny.
Can't wait to see what they do this.
Yeah.
But we getting that this year, but we're not getting Game of Thrones or Rick and Morty. Supposedly Rick and Morty this
Yeah,
year.
who knows about Rick and Morty?
Yeah, it could just pop up out of nowhere.
They could release it tomorrow.
Yeah. But no Game of Thrones this year. How you feel
Not
about
at
that?
all.
That's what they say until 2019, yeah. 2019, the last season.
Is it going to be like January 2019?
No idea.
Each episode's going to be longer though, right?
That's what they say, but you never know. There's HBO,
Han Solo is coming out, and to replace Game of Thrones, we get Han Solo early.
not excited for that. I don't think they should have did Han Solo.
Me either.
Because
But
Harrison Ford, he was like 30 something when he did it. I don't think your face changes drastically from like. He looks like he's in his 20s, right? This guy.
yeah,
I don't think your face would change. I mean, he looks like him, but not.
not
I hate
enough.
when he changed the.
yeah. And you know, it's funny. I watched like a fanfic Han Solo short, and the guy in the fan fiction was way better than the guy that they brought up for this. But
I mean, yeah, they should have did something else. They should maybe Obi-Wan or Yoda.
I think they're gonna do Obi-Wan. I think they're waiting for Ewan McGregor to get. Actually, they shouldn't wait for Ewan McGregor to get older, because the older he gets, the closer he gets to.
Yeah, the age where we first met him. But
that would be cool.
A Yoda movie would be dope. As
Yeah.
hell. That would be crazy.
I don't know if they would do that though. I think part of him is like the mystery behind him.
But how badass would it be to see a young Yoda? Like, how old is he? When we first meet him.
970, because he's like 1,000 something in New Hope. 180 maybe.
So imagine like a 400-year-old Yoda. That might be cool.
Yeah.
Or a 20-year-old Yoda.
He'd be like a baby in
yeah.
diapers or something. There was in the old universe, there was a backstory to him. He like
It's literature, a book.
something like that. It might have been a comic or something, but I just know from reading about it on the internet. He him and a friend of his landed on like some not deserted planet, but like a planet with no intelligent life forms, and like they were wandering around for a while, and then they run into a person or like an alien or whatever, an intelligent life form, and it turns out that they're Jedi, and so the Jedi's like, "Do you want me to train you guys? You're force sensitive," and so he trains Yoda and Yoda's friend.
That's fan fiction, or
No, it's legends.
oh, so
Yeah.
you got just trained randomly like that?
Yeah. And then I guess he went on to do like incredible stuff. Yeah. I think his friend turned to the dark side or something, and that's like part of the explanation for why he's so incredibly against he's always like the guy who's like, do not turn to the dark side. Here is what you must do to not turn to the dark side, you know? And he like he goes to a planet that is the dark side, and he's just like, I'll chill here for 20 years, it won't hurt me.
What do you guys feel about net neutrality? That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, net neutrality, I liked when they put it in. I'm afraid that getting rid of it is going to fuck shit up,
Why do you say that?
because if Optimum decides tomorrow they don't want me to be able to use YouTube very well, they can't. They can be like, fuck you, Google, and then I have to switch to Yahoo, stop having a YouTube channel, or pay them like $100 so that I can get it back, because Optimum's the only place I can get internet here.
They're trying to do it as a monthly fee.
They're not trying to do that. A lot of the internet companies have said that they won't. That doesn't mean that they really won't, especially like 20 years from now.
It's true. You could like slowly let it creep up on you.
Yeah.
Like in tiny ways.
Yeah.
Until you're utterly reliant on it. And
They could
20 years from now.
technically even like slowly make Netflix not work as well, like very slowly. And I guess they don't even have to. Tell
that's
you.
basically.
I don't know.
Apple does it with the phones when they want you to get the new one.
Yeah, they recently made a whole statement about that, and they're gonna add like a way that you can choose whether or not you want the phone to get slowed down to save the battery life, or to just keep the phone as it is. Because their excuse for slowing down the phones and messing up the operating systems and all that is that making your phone slower, like use less processing power, made the battery last longer, and it actually does. So there's like this. I don't know if that. I think that's just their excuse because they know they sell more phones if they slow it down. But
Then Apple and Facebook are brilliant.
Yeah.
In that they mostly
And
Facebook,
and
mostly
Google, too.
mostly Facebook. Yeah, mostly Facebook and Google. Yeah.
And Amazon.
They make you want to give them your information. Like they don't force you to give them that information.
All the big ones
they just
do that
make
now.
you want. Like the Apple, you feel like you need the new one when it comes out. Well, you don't need it, but you feel like I
Right.
want. You at least want that.
yeah, and Apple's
Their marketing.
capable of getting like your. I mean, they probably do sell certain information, but they're actually big on like privacy. Like, they haven't given anything to the government when the government's asked, and all that type of stuff. So that's I like that about them. But like,
How would you know if they did though? They were not going to say if they did give their information to your government.
Yeah.
Everybody
They're not going to
walks
say
around-
if they did or didn't.
I mean, yeah, but they haven't in any time that it's been made public that the government has requested information from Apple or access to your phone, they've been like, fuck you, go away. So, according to public knowledge, Apple does not give their information, whereas
According to public.
other
Yeah,
companies
you have to say
do.
that.
Other companies are totally open. They're like, yeah, we're giving this shit to the government. Like Microsoft gives. That's why everyone was so fed up with the Kinect. Like,
We walk people who have like some kind of awareness know that they walk around with little spies in their pockets every day.
And then just because Facebook doesn't share your stuff with the government, that doesn't mean they don't. I'm sure they share all your stuff with corporations, though.
I didn't say Facebook didn't. I don't know about
That's-
Facebook,
Isn't that what you were saying?
but no, I say Apple.
Oh,
Apple specifically.
You said Apple. Oh yeah.
The company
I
has
just
been
said Facebook.
very good about privacy for their
Did you-
users.
Misheard you.
You know that guy
See?
Alex Jones,
See,
right?
this is
I think that's
bad.
his name, Alex
This is
Jones.
bad for that.
You know Alex Jones?
Yeah.
You said the thing where he was like interviewing an Alexa. You know Alexa, right? The Amazon, I think it's Amazon. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, where he goes like.
Are you working? Are you connected?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I saw when
That
Steven
was-
Crowder
that was
did it.
so
Yeah.
stupid.
She just shut up. She was, no, I am not.
I saw when Steven Crowder did it on his podcast.
Yeah,
That's
that
the one
was
we
fake.
watched. Yeah,
Fake as
I heard.
fuck.
Yeah, that's at least that's what you found out, right?
Yeah.
From what source?
Multiple sites.
Multiple sources.
Yeah, a bunch of Christian websites
Even said
were releasing stuff like, "Don't worry, your Amazon Alexa is not anti-Jesus. This was a fake video."
How did they fake it? Just with sounds, or like they just recorded her saying what they wanted her to
Yeah,
say?
you can go like, "Alexa, say this," and then record Alexa saying whatever the hell you want Alexa to say. Like, we could probably do it with Google right now. Hey, Google, say, fuck you.
My apologies. I don't understand.
Oh.
Hey, Google, say, I love you.
One declaration of love coming up. I love you.
There you go.
All right. I don't know. They could have done it any number of ways through editing.
That's scary.
Yeah.
So
They
if they really wanted to.
so it listens the whole time until you say "Hey Google" and then.
Yep.
That's
I mean,
scary.
I guess it does, but I don't know. It could be recording it. It might not be.
Like it could be listening to everything. It could have different levels of recording.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
ask
same-
keywords and then it's, oh shit, start recording.
I knew from
But most likely the whole time.
like 5 that anything that I type into a computer of any kind is there forever, and anybody else can access it. Anybody. Because hackers and shit, like, hackers can just get a hold of, like, any bit of information that's ever been on the internet. I mean...
If they want that, they'll get it.
And that's not to say, like, you should just assume that. Because, I mean, there's definitely stuff that goes on the internet and then gets deleted and doesn't exist anymore. But that's rare because there's people out there that are like what's Wayback Machine. You can go and look at what your MySpace profile looked like in 2008 versus in 2007 by using like certain websites where somebody was just like, yeah, I'm gonna record the entire internet right now and just keep it on a database.
Every bit of information somewhere exists.
Yeah.
The internet is just like real life, and this is something else I stress to people, you know. Like in real life, things pile up. Everything goes somewhere. You know, that's why I'm not about littering and stuff. And or telling lies even too much, you know. Like, you know, I mean, everybody lies, of course, but,
Hey,
you know, I try not to lie because you got to carry that shit with you. And it all has to turn out to be something. You know, you have to have an excuse for it somewhere.
Right, man.
And
Yeah, it's the worst.
And garbage piles up too. I saw a video of a river that was, you know, just had garbage more garbage than water going through the
That's
stream.
fucking gross.
And I shared it on Facebook. That was like a month back.
Isn't it like the size of some country? Like some
there's a
big
place
country?
in the ocean. Yeah, that's the garbage patch, garbage island in the Pacific. I think there's more than one of them.
Yeah. What about that island where they take all the garbage? You know what I'm talking about?
In New York?
Mm-hmm.
What island is that? I mean, it used to. Staten Island
Used to
is
be a place.
just it's built on top of like
That's true.
trash.
Wow.
It's crazy. But there's somewhere else. I know what you're talking.
Yeah, I can't remember what they
Like-
call it.
Since they've been using it, that place never filled up. What do they do with it other than store it there? They burn it. They
Well, yeah, they burn it.
compact it. They recycle it.
Yeah, and burning it is like this weird thing where it's like actually kind of like in some sense it's like eco-friendly to burn it. Like not entirely, obviously, because you're burning it into the air, but
It depends on what it is,
Like-
also, right?
yeah, there's ways that they burn trash to put energy on into the electric grid and stuff, so that you're not burning something else. So essentially, instead of burning oil, you burn the trash, and then the trash is gone, so it's not having the impact it would on the planet that way.
There's still parts of Staten Island, fresh kills, where they put garbage.
Just like life, the internet is a crazy and scary place.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's got its own places. The deep web, the dark web, and stuff.
And most people
Same
don't
thing.
know that. They don't know that too. It's like you're playing with a gun every day and don't know it. You're a child playing with a gun and don't know it. Or
Right.
a sword or something.
I was saying on the last podcast though, like I think the internet, in some sense, like at least the way that most people use the internet nowadays, it's gotten a lot safer.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's not a good thing. I'm just saying like
No,
behind that.
no, I mean
you never
yeah,
know.
yeah, it's still the Wild West over there.
Yeah.
But like I remember growing up, like everywhere you could get a virus on any website if somebody sent you a certain link. Now it's like
This thing has like 5.
you're never gonna have. I haven't seen someone send a link on Facebook that was a virus link since 2008 or 2009. Like besides in the Messenger thing.
You were on Facebook in 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I joined in 2000.
Oh wait, yeah, I might
8
have been
or 9.
too.
Yeah,
I think I joined in 2006.
maybe it was 2009. How in 2006? Wasn't it like college only stuff then?
That's when it first went public in
Oh,
2006. And I think it first.
You have the same account till this day?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the thing is, it's just like I joined in like late 2006, and then I didn't post anything until like 2007. I had one picture for the longest time, and then,
You guys remember?
it evolved really slowly.
You guys remember AIM?
Oh
I-
my
I
god, I
didn't
loved
re-
AIM.
I didn't really get on it like that.
AIM was the shit.
I
remember
grew up
when AIM
on
was the shit.
AOL Instant Messenger.
You heard that it died the other day? They officially shut it down?
Yeah, that was like half a year ago, wasn't it?
I don't think that.
Oh, I heard a while ago that they just.
It was
might
like,
have been,
it was
it might
like
have
a
been.
couple of months, I think.
Yeah. Rest in peace to that.
Yeah.
So many memories there.
I mean,
It was
I was
sad.
on it, but I wasn't like on it all the time.
I tried to go back on it like when I first got a phone again, and like it's completely dead. Like, you can't even find it.
I was on MySpace a whole
You know what I
lot.
want to do?
I was always on MySpace.
So in high school, me and all my friends every night, like religiously, would
Group
jump
chats.
jump in a chat room on AIM and just talk about the craziest shit. And somewhere on an old computer of my parents,
You have all of that?
I recorded, I saved like a bunch of them. So, but the problem is, my parents don't have that computer anymore. I don't know if it got trashed or if it got given to somebody. I want to like one day,
Track it down.
yeah.
You think it'll still be there?
Probably not. It's probably
Only a hacker would be able to get it for you.
well. Is it? Well, I would bring it to a computer shop and be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Yo,
Maybe
get
they
this."
could salvage it.
I don't know how I would find it, but I'm gonna make like a video about it and then put that on YouTube or something.
Make it a quest.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it could be like a documentary about trying to find my AIM chat rooms.
Speaking of quests,
That would be a good like mini-series for like a YouTube
Yeah.
channel or something.
Yeah, I bet some of my friends from high school have some like saved on some computer in their attic or something too. I could probably like, track down the entire chat room.
That's really scary that all of that shit gets recorded somewhere and saved. That's extremely scary. Man. So that means someone high enough can just like see your whole online life.
I think it's a little too chaotic.
I mean, you have to go looking for it.
Like, you would have to be like the president, and then they would have to devote all their resources to finding out everything about your life.
You don't think an illegal hacker could do that if they wanted to?
They could, but you would like
they'd have to know that it's you they're looking for,
and
and then figure it out.
the everyday person, like, well, they might try and do that to like Bill Gates, right? To extort him for money, or
Like there'd have to be a reason they would want to invest all of that time to finding out about you and what you were.
They just want to mess with you.
because they would
They have a beef with you. They're like, oh yeah?
they would have to devote their life to it. That's what I'm saying.
They would have to know a lot about
If
this.
somebody wanted to find out everything about me that's
They
online,
would have to be like the top
Like-
hacker guys.
like I think that documentary would take 5 years to finally finish. You know, like in order for them to track that down without knowing the people who were on the chat rooms and all that, like.
I'm saying anything like your complete web history since any account with your name on it
Mm-hmm.
since the first day you've used the internet.
It's probably somewhere. It's more than likely it's somewhere, but it's not always.
Google.
Hey, Google.
Oh yeah, Google's fucking dangerous, you know. You know how much shit Google
It's
knows about
listening.
me?
It's listening to you right now.
Off.
You know how much shit you know about me, Google?
Hey Google, how much shit do you know about Nathaniel Longchallon? Did I pronounce your name right?
Longchallon.
I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Hey, you just put me under investigation.
Google.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Hey Google, what do you know about Chris Indellicati?
I didn't get that. Try saying that one more time.
All right, let's use your plain Jane name.
Hey
I was
Google,
gonna bring up like 18 billion.
it's gonna talk about a Christian author, but now it's gonna really talk about a Christian author. Google, stop.
Sorry, I don't know how to help with that yet.
Hey Google, who is William Young?
According to Wikipedia, William Paul Young is a Canadian author.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
No, not really.
That dude wrote some book called The Shack, and he's been haunting
And
me
it's
ever
funny,
since.
William Paul Young. William P. Young.
Yeah, that's my middle name's Patrick, so I can't even have my middle initial. Yeah, but
You guys want to talk? Oh shit, damn. Do you guys want to talk about women or something?
Mhm. Yeah, fucking women. You gotta love them though.
can't
Yeah,
live with them, can't live without them.
You have a beef with them? How's well, I don't know if it's a personal question. I'll ask you later.
It's complicated. That's
You know
all.
what I was gonna ask about?
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how that's going.
It's complicated. I'm about to change it to on Facebook too.
I mean, something is better than nothing, right? Well, sometimes, most times.
I guess depends on what something is.
Yeah, it depends on the subject.
Some women are nightmares and some are dreams. And
You gotta rephrase that. Most are dreams, and some are nightmares. I
I think most are nightmares.
think. I would
And
say
it's the same thing for us too. Most of us are nightmares to them probably.
yeah.
It's like it's just this. I feel like there's so much less quality people now.
Do you think
if that makes any sense.
Do you think people do you think in terms of like evolution, are we like supposed to be
Monogamous?
Yeah, or is that at least something that is built up into us in some
No.
capacity?
No.
Like,
Because you look at animals in nature, they're not monogamous. They
well,
go
some
like-
are.
Some are? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I think it helps
that's the thing. There's all like
for strong family
the
ties. I think
the
it
whole
helps.
the whole spectrum of possible ways of being in relationships, like all animals, like different animals represent different parts of that. Like everything that humans do, animals are doing something like it somewhere. But it's like, do you think as human beings, could there be like, are some of us supposed to not be monogamous and some of us supposed to be monogamous, or
Just leave it as your choice. They present it like that's the only right way to go about it.
Right, I
And
think
they show
that's
you
wrong.
if you want to be a
Well,
polygamous.
I think it works like to build stronger societies that way.
And
Stronger
there's-
societies that hold stronger values, and those values could be good or bad, but it's better if they're good. I don't know.
but why can't it be like there's some societies?
That do it differently.
Yeah, I could
It's
envision
true.
a society
And they work,
that
too.
does it like there's tribes that have this thing where like when men go out on like a hunting expedition or whatever, like they leave one man behind to satisfy all their wives, and they all have wives, like, but they just don't care about like sex isn't
You think
in the realm of like
Like it doesn't make
No,
them
my
feel
wife,
bad.
yeah, like wouldn't that be more stable if we
Like-
all thought like that?
Like
Like-
they actually,
hey, I'm leaving and you fuck my wife, I'm going.
they don't have that.
Make sure she's good.
What's the word?
I would like to be that guy.
It would be much more relaxing, like just to be like
I don't have to think about that.
everybody who wants to fuck my girlfriend, fuck my girlfriend.
Isn't that what like
Like-
Buddhists believe? Like separate attachment.
Yeah, that's a huge. I mean, they're not necessarily.
They
like,
do it on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
but they
saying
want
it-
everything.
Like
they're
they don't
saying
even
it,
have
yeah.
most of them. Like a real hardcore Buddhist probably doesn't have that much sex even, if at all.
Yeah, if at all.
Really
I
hard.
never even thought of them having sex.
Yeah, I
Do
don't.
they?
I don't know though.
Some of them abstain.
So
Not
yeah,
all of them.
certain
It's
groups.
attachment. You
Yeah.
can,
I was.
Those are the really hardcore ones. When I say that,
I learned something really cool about Buddhism recently,
Yeah.
and it's that the way Buddhism grew as a religion is very different from the way like Christianity did. Like Christianity came in and they were like, "We are Christians. This is how things are done," and everybody was the same, like from Italy to England for a long period of time. Everybody was the same exact like belief system.
Not exactly.
Things
that-
things it changed over time,
Yeah.
but the group stayed together as like one group. Buddhism, like, would come into a town because people got interested in Buddhism, and then they would start integrating Buddhism with whatever their belief system was before. That
Oh, yeah.
I like that idea.
yeah.
But
so-
but the same thing happens to Christianity too, especially when it spread to the New World.
right,
There's
right.
there's no denying that.
Like, yeah, December 25th, it was like a pagan holiday, all that stuff. But that was more of like, let's do this to pacify people. Buddhism was like the people being like,
And not only that,
you know, we worshipped Hare Krishna here, so we'll keep doing that and we'll put Buddha into it because that's how we feel like doing this. And then in some towns, like I think it's Tibet, where they're like very reserved. Everything's plain. They meditate all day, very structured.
Mhm.
And then you go to a town like not too far away, and everything's colorful and bright, and the monks go around town and like play with families, and they're much less like stoic, and it's all based on what the culture was like before Buddhism got there. So I think that's like a fascinating thing about them. Sorry to like go off on a tangent about it.
You should never apologize for teaching the people. They learn
Yeah.
something.
True that. How's it going, everybody?
I mean, unless it's something they don't want to learn, but don't give them the choice.
You can.
I
You
mean,
can skip ahead.
they have the choice of watching this. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about
But yeah. So,
separation.
are
from
there
attachment.
chaste Buddhist monks? Is that like a thing that's written into it at all? Are they allowed to fuck? Or not? Can you Google that, Chris? Actually, fuck it, you don't need to Google it. Hey Google, can Buddhist monks have sex?
According to Wikipedia, apart from certain schools in Japan and Tibet, most who choose to practice Buddhism as ordained monks and nuns also choose to live in celibacy.
That's what I said earlier.
Alright.
A lot of the hardcore ones
Yeah.
choose to be celibate.
So it did say there's like certain regions where they fuck though.
Just finished meditating all day.
Yeah?
Oh, no, I was talking about
yeah.
that. Yeah, they finish meditating all day and then they go home. So they want to
I want to do
take them to another.
like a 20-hour meditation sometime. That would be really
Good.
hard to pull off.
An hour.
I remember Leedon did a meditation for a couple of hours in the rain. I remember he recorded it on a time lapse.
Nice. We gotta
A couple of
ask
years
him.
ago, he did that.
We gotta ask him about that on
Outside
the
in the
podcast
rain.
when he gets on.
Yeah, he did that outside in the rain.
Yo. I'm
Medi-
stoked for
I
the
think-
party.
I think my body is scared of like
Really
meditation.
getting into that. Yeah.
Because
I know what you mean.
like when I feel myself going further, like about to experience something, I always like jump out of it. I'm
Yo.
afraid, like
I had like a crazy experience meditating recently. Like
saw something.
no. I was like I meditate a lot laying down, and so I was laying there and I you know how like have you ever meditated to a point where like you like go into something different like some different state of mind?
A more I don't want to say relaxed. You're more aware.
Most of the time, yeah, well, definitely. I think that's part of it, but I think that's the typical place I get to is like an awareness that's also a very like calm. Like I'm almost a little high, like
Especially when you come out of it, that's how you know you did a good
Mhm.
meditation when you come
Yeah.
out of it and you feel the
yeah. So, yeah. Have you ever had like that
high,
a
the
little bit
after
of like
high?
a buzzy feeling in your body?
Yeah.
All right. I went to a place where it was that buzzy feeling, like
Constantly?
intense. Just like I was like, "What's happening right now? I've never been here before," and it freaked me out at first, and when it was freaking me out, it felt terrible, and I was like, I'm gonna see this through. I like forced myself to not like stand up and like, cause you know you can like come out of a meditation in like sometimes when you come out of a meditation, the way you were feeling when you stop is the way that persists throughout like some time after.
Didn't know that. It's good to know.
So for me, it's been like that, and
To me, that makes sense.
so I was like, I'm gonna fucking see this through to the end. I'm gonna see what's going on right now, and as I got myself into a like better place, the feeling, it stayed just as intense, but it changed. It like shifted from feeling like absolutely terrible to like really great. It was like the same feeling, but totally flipped. I don't know how to explain it any better than that, but it felt like someone plugged me into a car battery, and instead of being like electrocuted, like the energy was just pulsing through my body.
That does sound amazing.
I think it makes me like more creative. Like days that I meditate, makes me easier to focus on things, and it's like thoughts come to me better.
I have a friend who says is like the people he meets, he feels changes after he meditates. Like the day after he meditates, like he runs into more positive people than negative, I guess.
Yeah, I hear that. It's definitely worth it. Like, a lot of the time I just do it in the shower. Like, 20 minutes in the shower, or like, whatever.
Another good idea. I never thought of that.
The best thing about it is you can do it anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
It's like a hidden power that we have. The mind is really powerful. Crazy.
That's the truth, man. It's,
The mind made this.
yeah,
The mind can eat it.
all of this. Like, you ever think about, like, tables? Like, tables are a fascinating invention.
Yeah, but it's so simple at the same time.
Yeah, like, I know a computer is a fascinating invention, but, like,
Where would you put the computer if it wasn't for this table?
if tables didn't exist, who the hell would have thought of, like, let me raise something up, like, on a stand, and then have a place to set objects in front of me. Like, it's like, you're literally
And
defying gravity with a table. That's what a table's for.
when that guy probably came up with that idea, they probably were like, "You fucking crazy. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Just put your shit on the floor where everybody does
Yeah.
that shit. Get a rock and put your shit on the rock."
Right.
And Japanese got those really short tables.
This
can sit
this
down.
fucking table gets in the way. I can't walk through the cave.
What is this?
Like, why are you blocking so much area in the
It's
cave?
so unnecessary. What the fuck? Random wood in the middle of the room. You look at all the wood you wasted too.
Yeah.
Shit.
And then somebody's trying to like craft their arrows, and they realize that if they don't put them on the ground, they can use two hands now for certain things because they don't have to hold it in one. They're like, oh crap! You just added 100% extra work power to my arrow crafting.
That's an invention that you never think about. Tables.
Yeah.
I mean, chairs
Or
really
like
an invention.
pencils.
It's funny that thought came to me after like meditation.
How's quitting going for you?
What do you mean, cigarettes?
Yeah. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't look good.
No, that's good. I don't care. It's
Any relapses?
no, not really.
Not really. It's supposed to be.
I tried to smoke 2 times and it didn't take. So I don't.
That's good. Man.
It's
How
like
long
I
ago was
don't
that?
like it no more.
How long ago was that?
I don't know, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've been thinking too. I think this is my final time quitting. Like I really have no desire for it.
Like there was one day where I was thinking about it, but then it was still easy to not, want it because it's like I know what it is. It's a trick. My mind wants it. I want it, and then as soon as I get it, I'm gonna be like, I don't want this.
You know, the only time
It just doesn't taste good anymore.
Yeah, the only time I want it is like when I'm in the middle of doing a habit that I associate with smoking cigarettes. The other day, to say that? Tripping. And I'm so used to smoking those while I'm on it. So that was the only difficult time since this time. But it's been
That was
a
probably
month and 11 days.
That was probably an experience, like,
Trying to do it without it. Yeah, I felt stuck, like
but like
physically, like I was in the middle of two people doing it.
it probably taught you a little bit about like the feeling too, right?
Yeah, like I could feel the mind maturing too. It's like before it would be like you need this, and you want it and you don't care, you just take it. And now it's like shit out of here.
Yeah, it
You know,
doesn't even smell that good no more. You know, like
yeah, the smell you
people do it. I'm like, oh man, I feel like
you one of those people?
it's like
You just quit and you're gonna blame people for smoking.
what? No, it's not that. It's just it's like it's like almost like my heart sinks a little bit for that person, and then I move away 5 more feet.
You guys are giving me a lot of confidence in like
Quitting.
yeah.
We talked about that before.
Like,
It's
knowing that
it's
it's
so
gonna-
much easier than you think at first, you know.
Or,
But you know what it is like, and I said this before. I mean, I don't know how you did it exactly when you did it, but for me, I was saying because that when I turn 30, I'm gonna do it, and I was saying that
the
for
first
years.
day I met you, you told me that.
yeah.
I was saying that for years, and then I turned 30, and I really did it, and it was like I was already really prepared for doing it.
Word up.
Like I'm gonna do it.
This should be.
It was
I mean, so far it's been good, but this should be a great year.
Yeah, it's gonna be an incredible year.
I thought 2017 was gonna be gorgeous, and it
We're
was
about to be bringing in
it was
dope.
okay.
It was okay, but this time,
This year's gonna be good.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
can
be
feel it.
huge.
I could feel like a lot of stuff gaining momentum. The
Yeah.
momentum is
I feel so much gaining momentum while this podcast is losing momentum.
yeah.
So I think we got some work to get to. And you guys want to say anything before we go?
Oh,
Peace.
peace. You know, it was good seeing you. Tune in next time. You know, and check us out. We're gonna have lots of interesting guests on. We're gonna talk about a lot more interesting things,
Yes.
and that's it.
Okay, Google, tell the lovely guests at home goodbye.
My apologies. I don't understand.
Google doesn't want to tell you goodbye.
Google doesn't want things to end.